here today with Scott Williams, guitarist from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Scott, you've composed a list of 20 songs that have influenced you as a musician and guitarist. What can you tell me about these in general as to how you compose the list?
Well, I guess these songs really struck me upside the head over the years as I think it was more important than the guitar licks themselves was the energy involved in the songs, because a lot of the songs on my list are really basic recordings that were done like back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. There's not a whole lot of the newer stuff. Back in the days when they recorded in the studio live, they wasn't many overdubs and that sort of thing. The whole band would record together, and if somebody screwed up, well, they just went back and started over, So, you can imagine, because there have been times I've been in the studio and spent 8 hours recording one song. And back then, some groups, I think the Beatles' first album, they done the whole album in like 10 hours. So it's incredible. But it would be just capturing the energy, I guess capturing lightning in a bottle.
Okay. First on the list you have here is Mystery Train, Elvis Presley with Scotty Moore as a lead guitarist. What can you tell us about that song?
Absolutely the genesis to me wanting to play the guitar. If I'd have never heard it and never really paid attention to what Scotty Moore was doing on that recording, I'd have never touched a guitar. I've aspired, I guess everything I've aspired to do has come from that song as far as lead guitar playing. His tone, the tasteful use of echo, which Sam Phillips was the producer at Sun Records. And, he was kind of in charge of the echo itself, but and not just that song, but anything just about that Elvis done while he was with Sun Records. And, we're talking mid-50s here. Just about anything. Most guitar players, most music fans, Elvis fans, so forth, will tell you that was his best period. I mean, he did some great stuff later on, but that was the most consistent thing he had going on. And the most energy, I guess it's because he was still hungry. He wasn't rich yet. He wasn't bloated yet, He still had something to shoot for. He was shooting for the stars, and there was just him and the electric guitar player, the bass player. That was it. No drums. But they sound so full. You can listen to the song, and it sounds like there's more than 3 instruments going on. And like I say, what Scotty was doing on the guitar was, from what I understand, I wasn't around at that time. But from what I understand, it was ahead of its time. It just sounded so full. It's just he just got in the key of E pretty much, and like I say, had that echo thing going on, just started going up. Almost like a train beat, And then the solo itself is real simple. That's the way I play it anyway. Pretty much it, but I can still listen to it today and it's timeless. And I've probably heard the song.
Well, for our listeners at home, will you tell us the setup you have here, your guitar and your amp?
The guitar I'm using is a Gretsch Duo Jet. It's similar to the guitar that Cliff Gallup used when he was playing with Gene Vincent. This is just the one that I've settled into, that I've gotten the most comfortable with. Mm-hmm. As far as my amp, for the last few years, I've been using Holland amps. They are essentially built on the same circuit that Leo Fender done the early Fender amps on.
We're here with Scott Williams today, guitarist from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, going through his guitar picks. Okay, Rebel Rouser, Duane Eddy.
Ah, yes, the Forrest Gump song. I've known that song a lot longer before Forrest Gump came out, I should say. I remember one of my earliest memories, I guess, when I was growing up, my mom had a copy of Duane Eddy's first album, and it had that song on it. And I remember being 4 or 5 years old and listening to that album. And back then, I wasn't really wanting to play the guitar yet. I don't think it was planted in me yet. But I could listen to that, and it was intriguing to me. Now, he had the tremolo effect, which I don't have in my setup currently, that made his guitar sound like a fluctuation in volume. I wonder if I can simulate it on here. Let's see here. Probably not, but it's just like if you're hit the string and it goes. If you control it with a pedal or whatever, or a built-in tremolo on some amps. That song to me, it's one of the first hit rock and roll instrumentals where the guitar was at the forefront. And what Duane done really was just, he started off like the first 16 bars just his guitar with the tremolo effect going on and lots of echo and reverb. Sounds really huge.
Okay.
And then the band comes in and it just rocks all the way through. I mean, it sounds like a party.
Okay, give us some of that party right now.
All right. One of the first that I noticed that had a Bigsby on his guitar for the vibrato bends, like I just done then. You can hit a whole chord and then bend it. And that, to me, that just sounds really cool.
We're here with Scott Williams today, guitarist from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, going through his guitar picks. Summertime Blues, Eddie Cochrane.
There again, Eddie Cochrane, about anything he recorded, it had a certain magic. He started out pretty much as one of the many Elvis impersonators that came out in the mid-50s, late 50s. But then he, with things like Summertime Blues and Come On Everybody, he pretty much had his own style going by then. Summertime Blues had more of a thing going where either he or the bass player, one was just all the way through the song pretty much going. And at the time you got this cool hand clapping thing going on one. And I mean, you don't hear much of that hand clapping going on, that sort of percussion thing. And it had a real aggressive acoustic guitar thing going. Maybe not that acoustic. All the way through it. You know, it's just a really cool thing. Mm-hmm. It's just, and the lyrics, you know, it's anybody that had to when you were in high school, you had to work a summer job. You know, and what a drag it could be when you wanted to go out and hang with your buds. And you couldn't because you had to be at the drugstore or at the Burger King or wherever. I worked for Crown Drugs when I was in high school, and I remember I used to want to go out and shoot pool with the guys, but I had to be at the drugstore, you know.
We're here with Scott Williams today, guitarist from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, going through his guitar picks. Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line, Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, there you go. Just gotten a decent guitar when I graduated from high school. I got a Fender Telecaster, just like what Waylon played. And about that time, me and a buddy named Larry Moore started hanging out together. And we was picking on some of the Waylon songs. I can still see us burning up the roads here in Winston in his old that Firebird. 78 Firebird, if I remember correct. And it had an 8-track tape player in it, so I'm giving my age away now.
What's an 8-track tape player?
Exactly. But one of us, if not both of us, had some Waylon 8-tracks, and we listened to them, and that one song really stood out at us, and it was just one of those good country things, you know. Everybody knows you've been stepping on my toes, and I'm getting pretty tired of it. You keep a stepping out of line, and I'm messing with my mind. If you had any sense, you'd quit. 'Cause ever since you were a little bitty teeny girl, said I was the only man in this whole world. Now you better do some thinking, then you'll find you got the only daddy that'll walk the line. Did you notice while I was singing, I was doing some of that chest stuff? Told you, it just comes. It sneaks in.
Spirit takes over you on
when you want it to or not. It comes in.